Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. When I first started watching this episode, Nina got me so angry. She got me so angry that I felt like I haven't been that angry with that woman since I did my first review. The thing that really bothers me about Nina, there's a lot of things that bother me about Nina, but one of the defining characters in her is her entitlement. Her ability to sit there and judge things before knowing all the facts. Okay? She came in that house mad at Michael because in her tiny little brain, she felt like it was Michael that wanted her to delay treatment. I don't even understand on what planet do you jump to that conclusion. It is beyond me. I don't get it. And you know, listen, I think the only way to actually know how Nina brings work is to donate it to science. But even with that being said, even though that she just came to a conclusion that I don't think I'm ever going to understand, if you don't know all the facts, you don't go in some. First of all, you don't just barge in somebody else's house like you own the place. But of course, that comes with her entitlement. You act. You don't just sit there and start assuming that, oh, well, Willow is practically dying because of you, and, why this, that, and the third. And, I wish Michael would have been like, granted, Michael was like, yo, this is none of your business. And of course, she was like, my grandson makes it my business. And I'm like, see, I don't have the type of patience that most people do. Okay? I don't have the type of patience that most people do. Because I would have been like, all right, cool. So here's how this is going to go. You're either going to leave your little feet, just there's three numbers. So I'm going to sit there and call. I'm going to enjoy calling them. The fact that she came out of her mouth, and by the way, she doesn't even have visitation rights, but the fact that she came out of her mouth talking about my grandson makes it my business. You mean a grandson that you can't see because of the ways you were going about it? You mean that grandson? So while that's going on, Willow is having a dream of her coming back home with her daughter. Everything's all fine and dandy. Until it goes sideways pretty fast. And it gets to a point where, she's really sick. And, what is it? Yeah, she's getting really sick. And, Willow can't really take care of her child because her child is Wiley is with Nina. And she's like, yo, get away from my son, this, that, and the third. Next thing you know, Michael hands over their daughter, and I guess she wakes up or whatever. But while Michael is trying to politely kick this woman out of his place, Wiley comes downstairs, starts hugging her, oh, grandma, this, that, and the third. Next thing you know, it's like it went from bad to worse in like 3 seconds. Willow comes downstairs and she is just livid. It's like she woke up and she still thought she was dreaming. She's all like, get away from my son, this, that, and the third, yada, yada, yada. And I'm just like, I'm not trying to defend this woman right here because I honestly think that she is a terrible human being. Okay, she's not a terrible human being, but she's somebody who I definitely don't like. So I am not sitting there trying to defend her. But yelling and screaming and scaring your son was probably not the best way to go about it. And it's not like she's not in her. It's not like she just woke up and she was on the couch and she just started flipping out like that. She literally ran downstairs. So it wasn't like she was sleepwalking or anything. And she did sit there and say, well, she's a bad person or whatever. I'll explain to you later. I'm like, again, this is probably not exactly the best time and probably best things you can sit there and say in front of your son. It's not a good situation. But of course, she gets halfway up the stairs and she collapses. Everyone's sitting there notified. And I mean everyone. I mean Brooklyn. I mean, Nina had to sit there and call Carly. So it's that. At this point, Drew has just had enough. He's had enough. He's tired of lies. Carly, like an idiot, is sitting there trying to defend herself by sitting there saying, I was doing it for her protection. She said she didn't want it now. Da 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 da. I was like, Carly, got this conversation. Was it ever possible for you to just sit there and say, you know what? I screwed up. I was wrong. I'm sorry. Or some variations of those words. No? No, we're not going to do that. We're just gonna do it the old Carly way. Just defend, 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 deflect, deflect, deflect. Maybe she thought in her tiny brain that she thought she was dealing with Jason, but he ain't Jason, and he's not dealing with that. He was like, I'm not gonna sit there and be in a relationship with somebody who's just lying to me that I can't trust. I'm done. And Carly's like, so after one mistake, Carly, shh, let's let this man just walk on out. Let this man walk on out, have some ounce of dignity, take the L, be humble about it, and move forward. I forgot that I'm sitting there. I'm not talking to a normal person. I'm talking about Carly. So of course Carly had to sit there and say what she said. He was like, you don't get it. That scene was definitely something else. So Sonny thought that Joss knew about Willow's leukemia. So when she mentions it, she's not there thinking that she was already in the know. But Josh just found out. And Josh was like, does Carly know? I can't believe that Michael didn't tell me, this, that, and the third. Because first, she walked up in his office like she owned the place. She was like, oh, you don't get to tell me who I can and can't be with. The usual the usual, I also call it Carly Dream. But the usual Josh nonsense. Okay? The thing that always irritates me in these conflicts with Joss and Sonny, or Joss and whoever she decides to judge, but particularly Sonny. Joss, you are 19 years old. You need to stay in your lane. This is unbelievable that you walk. And the thing is, the fact that she has the audacity to sit there and walk in his place and talk about, oh, you don't get to sit there and dictate where I go with this, that, and the third. Josh, you do realize that if you would have kept your bodyguard with you, there's a good chance that Britt may still be alive. But you knew better, right? You knew better. So you just shoo a bodyguard away because you're a big girl now and you can handle this. So the fact that she actually walked in his office like that is not only laughable, but it's just, I don't even have a word to describe it. That's not true. I don't have any good words to describe it. So I'm just going to sit there and say, I don't have any words to describe it. But Dex comes in there, takes Joss away. They start talking about Oscar. Um, I can see a lot of this whole Carly and Jason and Dex just being a good listener, just giving advice, or just Giving advice. But here's the thing: there's a way to give advice without telling someone what to do. Telling someone it's not that bad. It's going to get better. You know, without trying to manage them. And he has that gift, and that's what Jason had. Miss Jason. I know he's going to be on days, but still, as another character. But whatever. Now they had the subplot. This is where the episodes start to kind of dip a little bit down in quality. I'll sit there and say, and it's not terrible, but you had this scene with Gladys after because for some odd reason they always got to find reasons and rhyming reasons to sit there and show Chase or any other man naked or half naked. Which I always find funny. See, I always find this funny in these soap operas when they always have these men bare naked pretty much. The minute that a woman shows an ounce of cleavage, oh, it's a riot in the streets, and people are sitting there calling and try to get the network to get the show canceled over an ounce of cleavage. No, 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 no. You can practically show Chase in all his glory, and that's totally okay, but whatever. So, at some point, um, Gladys goes to Sonny to talk about Sasha and giving up the garage and making sure that she's not holding on to things and she can try to move forward. And I don't even think that's the reason why. That's the sad part. She wants to sell this garage, thinking that offer's good. Sonny's like, yeah, I don't like those numbers. Let's be honest, that's not why she wants to get rid of the garage. She wants to get rid of the garage so this way she can pay her debt off to Miss Wu. So let's talk about Sasha and this, that, and the third. It's all secondary to, her reverting back to the old Gladys. The old Gladys that people just really didn't like. The selfish version that sold out her own son and Brando's pretend to be son. Yeah, that version. Good times, right? Dev. Took me a minute to sit there and remember his name. In a lot of ways, it reminded me just how useless that character was. After the whole Turkish thing, there was really no point. I don't even understand why he was actually still. Oh, yeah, I remember now. I think it has something to do with Oscar and Josh trying to find Josh a new boyfriend or something. Anyway, so that whole thing is pretty much about her trying to pay off her debts. Um, and this is just me just guessing like 98% I'm sure that I'm right. Meanwhile, Brooklyn and Cody are trying to work on a way. Well, Cody, I guess, is helping Brooklyn try to work on a way to get back Chase, and so Brooklyn's like, "Hey, I need you to come by. I changed some lyrics to the song, and you need to come by and learn them like now." So Chase is like, "All right, fine, whatever." And when Chase comes in the door, he's accompanied by Sasha. And Brooklyn's like, "Oh, well, Sasha, you're here." And Chase's like, "Yeah, well, you said it wasn't gonna be that long, so figure I'll just have her tag along with me." Sasha's going through a lot, and I'm like, wait, I did skip something. Sasha's going through a lot. She's grieving. That's just long story short. She's still grieving. And Chase said he was going to be there for her. So okay. That is the short version of that long conversation. Been watching the show, you know that she's grieving between Brando and Liam and well everything. Um, and my whole thing is that I hope that she doesn't get lost in the shuffle because she's been having some really great stories. And I know some people, and not the people in my comment section, sometimes I have to always sit there and make sure people understand that I'm not talking about the people in my comment section, but I'm talking about the people like on Instagram and YouTube when they watch some of these videos of the character. Because sometimes I'll sit there and just watch little clips or whatever. And people are just always constantly complaining that, they're always making Sasha unhappy, and when is Sasha going to be happy, and why can't they make her happy? And I'm just like, if they really made her too happy, then she would be really boring and no one really cared. So the fact that they've been giving her such good storylines have just been amazing. It's also amazing that they've given her great storylines and Sam is still wondering why is he even actually on the show anymore. That's what I'm wondering. But I just hope that she doesn't get lost in the shuffle. And before I go, I think that's pretty much about it, but I'm not too sure. They did do a little bit of a tribute towards Sonia Eddies. Now, my thing is, and I was reading online, and I don't know how true this is that they're actually going to do an actual episode on her, which is what I'm hoping. I'm assuming that they're going to do that, okay? Because showing your last 30, 40 seconds of just dedicated to her is, I mean, to sit there and say is unacceptable is putting it lightly. Um, so I'm assuming that they're going to do something more because I was sitting there questioning the same thing with Days when they did that little 5 second tribute with John Aniston. I guess time will tell. I'm assuming so. I'm gonna sit there and read up on it. Um, anyway, the only thing that they really do is try to decipher Brooklyn's handwriting, and the thing is, your handwriting is bad when you can't read it. And don't get me wrong, I don't have exactly the prettiest handwriting, but again, when you can't read your own handwriting, it ain't good. It ain't good. You should probably slow down a little bit. Yeah, I feel like that's pretty much about it. I feel like that's all the pertinent information that I think I pretty much covered. So, with that being said, I'm going to go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe, and I will see you in the next video. And if you are, also 8 o'clock live stream, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. So, if I missed anything or something you want to sit there and just talk about during the live stream, we'll sit there and talk about it then also. Anyway, with that being said, I'm going to go. Thank you for watching. Be safe, and I'll see you in the next video.